I think we're good. Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sam, of course, and I'm reporting live from an undisclosed location to bring you the lost hidden episode of a series of Weird Mind Newsroom that was obtained and hidden by the Acme Corporation on the focus of secrets of the new releases, trailers, and news they don't want you to know about in the case of destroying their reputation. But I am risking my neck to make sure that works out. I haven't spotted yet, but let's delve into the files and talk on all the pieces of media that have been covering for this week in particular. So as with the first of the new releases, the corporation has taken the reins of this file and kept it hidden from the world, as was the case they had a plan for it not to see the light of day, and have lost the time all for a quick buck. But it seems from demand, protest and payout, it will see the light of day after all, as it'll be time for the trial of the century, as after many delays and near cancellation, we now have the release of the new film of Coyote vs. Acme. Now based on a New York Times article, after every product made by the Acme Corporation has backfired on Wile E. Coyote in pursuit of the Roadrunner, down now Billboard attorney Kevin Avery, played by Will Forte, represents Coyote in a lawsuit against Acme. A growing friendship between Wile and Kevin soon motivates their determination to win this court case as it pits them against Buddy Crane, played by John Cena, the intimidating boss of Kevin's former law firm, who now represents Acme. Reception on this film will be one that have Acme sweating, as it has garnered universal praise on the visuals, narrative, comedy, characters, and everything in between, and seen as one of the year's best reviewed films, and may now question why they thought this was a film that was worth cancelling. Now, I have come back from watching it a little while ago, and I will say it is a great film as well, so I would definitely go check it out. If you want to fight back and show the love for this movie, you can catch this film out now in cinemas, with it releasing next week in the States. Now, while the corporation will try and bury that first new release, this other title will be what they will try and push you to watch instead, and we'll see the horrors many tried to bury rising from the dead and beyond, and becoming from the afterlife into the real world, as they return to a new entry of this long-running horror series with the release of Insidious, Out of the Further. In the film, we'll follow Gemma, played by Amelia Eve, a young mother who discovers that she can travel into the further purgatorial realm of lost souls. When something evil comes after her, she realizes that she can bring what lives there back into the real world, and once the demon realizes his power, our worlds will soon become their playground. Reception on this film has been the usual mixed reception, though it seems to be more improved of recent memory of the other films, with praise on the concept and some of the scares, though the elements in the subtitle are a bit weak and the full and usual by the numbers jump scares. It seems there will be a bit more of an attempt at this title. If you want to re-enter into the further, you can do so now with it out in cinemas. Our last film this week is the usual array of projects that can expect from reappear in some form that have the usual known of Leeds taking the crime into his own hands, as we have a second film of the annual title starring Jason Statham with the new film of Mutiny. And the film will focus on Cole Reed, who becomes framed for a murder of his billionaire boss and will soon uncover an international conspiracy as he battles a group of thugs aboard a cargo ship. The reception of this title is a bit of a mixed one, that while some of the entertainment value of the action flick is the usual issues of feeling the same of all the films of being a by the numbers concept, but I'm sure there's entertainment to it and just to turn your brain off to and enjoy it. But if you want to check it out for yourself, then you can catch it out now in cinemas or possibly Amazon Prime. I have no idea on that aspect. The last new releases of this week will see the concept of some new heroes making debut to the new saga, where in this occurrence of the brightest day and blackest night, and some hope that no evil shall escape their sight. Where the concern of the location will be a major focus, those who defy them, you'll soon have to beware of their power, as we return of a new series that from the slowly growing DC universe, with the new long-awaited release of the new series of Lanterns. Now, the series will follow members of the Lantern Corps, a group of heroes and intergalactic peacekeepers given extraordinary powers from the powerful rings. This will follow two of those members from experienced Lanterns, Hal Jordan, played by Kyle Chandler, and new recruit John Stewart, played by Aaron Pierre, as they're tasked to investigate a murder in a small town, Nebraska, which soon leads them to dark mysteries and reckonings. Reception on the series has been very well received so far, with praise on the performances, visuals, narrative, and to finally giving the Lantern Corps a proper project they deserve. If you want to check it out for yourself, you can catch the first episode now on HBO Max, with a new episode releasing every Sunday night or Monday morning. Now, for all that regards now, that's all the new releases we have this week.
Into the thick of it!
Now, I would think that the one new release would be the Redacted, but it seems to cover all of it, including the trailers. And this first one sort of returned to a series that was initially made on a channel for younger audiences that started as a focus on younger teens find themselves in the school to show and find their talents. While many have proven their worth, it's a focus turned to one known face from the series that will be trying to provide her overzealous ego for a new generation, as we're returning to the world of Victorious with a trailer for the new sequel series of Hollywood Arts. The new series will focus on Trina Vega, played by Danielle Monáe, who has been struggling as an actress for years and decides to return to Hollywood Arts, where she becomes an unqualified substitute teacher, where she will soon clash with and inspire a new generation of ambitious and eccentric students. So I recall the series Victorious as being a decent project, and it's been one that is often connected with the other show of iCarly that had more of a clear structure. Both of them have now gotten their sequel series. The idea is not a bad idea overall, and I can see a sense of this being a good use of the focus. That when I watched the trailer, I was getting a sense of the vibe to the initial planned spin-offs for iCarly that was either going to focus on Gibby or Sam, for them becoming a mentor or guidance counselor to some kids, but I see this working with a location of a school of gifted stars in the making. I hope this will still be more akin to the original show than the iCarly revival, which felt a bit weird from a weird whiplash of them casually talking about sex, swearing and other ordeals, but I'm sure we can see in due time, as the series will be releasing in about 2 months time on Netflix from about the 15th of October. For the one film trail this week, will be trying to a form of filmmaking that can make an appearance once in a blue moon, and that is in the area of stop motion animation. While we have the usual studio market making new appealing bangers every year or so, this new one is a studio that has been quiet for about nearly a decade, and is a film that will finally be showing off their long development and dedication they've spent about 15 years working on, as it will be returning to the studio of Laika as the release of their new trailer for their upcoming film based off Wildwood. Now, based on the novel of the same name, the film will follow Prue McKeel, played by Peyton Elizabeth Lee, and her classmate Curtis Melberg, played by Jacob Tremblay, who are drawn to a hidden magical forest near Portland in an attempt to save Prue's kidnapped infant brother Mac from the Crows, who are led by the mysterious woman named Alexandra, played by Carey Mulligan. Now, this has always been a case why I love the genre of animation, and the focus of stop motion has been making a bit of a comeback in recent memory. Now, to say that this 15-year wait has been well worth it, as this looks absolutely visually stunning in the detail, the grand scale visuals, and everything in between. And honestly, this I feel could be a massive project that would give it such a novel justice, especially given this one will be clocking around a little over 2 hours, making the longest stop motion film to date. And honestly, I'm very excited to check this out. It's not too long from release either, as the Trip to the Woods will be unveiled into cinemas from the 23rd of October. Our last trailer will be focused to return to the streaming side. In this case, we'll be back to a series that has taken a look and perspective into the minds of those that have taken a life in some form. From the one distinct look, ones with some series brought back up the ideas of their killing was justified, and one inspired many horror classics. But this time we are changing a little and going further back in time, and to the focus the ideas of killing and murder is not just a man's ordeal, and there is some of the focus that women could be just as sinister. But the focus on this side may be a tall tale of folklore, as we return to the anthology series of killers with the release of the trailer for Monster, the Lizzie Borden story. And this of course will focus on the tales and story of Lizzie Borden, who was seen as a main culprit and suspect in the August 4th, 1892 axe murders of her father and stepmother, and the eventual trial and acquittal of the crime itself. So it's a case I felt I've heard a little about this case in the past, but mainly being from the perspective of the poem that I'll now recite, and hopefully that company will not redact. Lizzie Borden took an axe to give her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Andrew Borden now is dead. Lizzie hit him on the head. Up in heaven he will sing, on the gallows she will swing. Which seems like everything you need to know. Now, I know the series of killers has slowly but surely lost appeal over time through their glorifying, especially last season that was a bit graphically excessive, but I'm sure there will be some sense of appeal in some capacity that will come from it all. But I'm sure we'll see in due time, and it's not too long from release either, as the new season will be dropping onto Netflix from the 17th of September. Now in all regards, that's all the trailers we have this week. There's a leak in the boat! So likely if the first two sections have been dealt the same blow of being stuck to possible redactions, then this may be the same as well in the news, but in this case I will try not to overdo too many on the focus of this one. The ideological case of the usual array of the hodgepodge of stories, where there's not a lot of stories this week in focus in particular, but I will cover some updates and news that have been hitting the media space for the last few days. But let's just see what comes of it all. And we'll start with one I'll keep very brief, as we an update to a story I talked a little bit about 2 weeks ago by the time this video comes out, that we initially talked on, but on Thursday this week, it was officially confirmed that Guardians of the Galaxy star Dave Bautista will be taking over the role of Kratos for the new God of War adaptation, after the previous actor Ryan Hurst suffered a bad pulled muscle injury on the set. Now, in all case, I made mention that I see him as a decent role of the character and can bring an element to it, and I had hoped that he'd be postponed filming until the original actor healed up and back to full shape, but I'm sure they'll do the performance well. I do hope as well this will not affect the chance of him playing Marcus Phoenix in the Gears of War adaptation, but I'm sure we'll do well with either role. So I'm sure we'll see a better look of him soon enough as they start production up again, and if I hear anything else about this being changed or what we can expect this title, I'll let you know in a later episode. We have one more casting story this week to talk on, and one aspect I was initially going to talk on last week, but as I was editing the recent episode, another addition was made for this project, so I decided to put them together. So whether this be lost to time, I have no idea, but it looks like another pair of famous faces will be added to the growing list of suspects, as another two new additions have joined the upcoming 6th season of Only Murders in the Building, all confirmed to be Oscar winners Olivia Colman and Peter Capaldi. Now, both of these seemed like a really good choice for the role and will be joining a massive roster of 21 guest stars already confirmed for this massive season. And a coincidence that they now have a third Doctor Who in the series with David Tennant and Jodie Whittaker, and I will not be surprised with likes of like Ncuti Gatwa or Matt Smith will also be in this. But I'm very intrigued with this very elaborate plan for this new season that I'm wondering if this will be the final season or there's more stories to come from it all. But I'm sure we'll eventually see of when this new season will be as well, because it has no release date for it, and I feel this could be a late yearly release or early 2027. Once you hear anything about this as well, I'll try and let you know in a later episode. This is with some announcement I initially overlooked about 2 weeks ago, but we have some new announcements coming to us from the world of one of the biggest indie games of all time, as there was some news in relation to the franchise of Five Nights at Freddy's, as there was some announcements from the 12th anniversary of the game back on the 8th of August, with one big addition being that both FNAF World and Security Beach will be both getting a sequel. Now I wonder if both of these titles will be held by the studios of Steel Wool or that worked on the latter title, as the original FNAF World was done by Scott Cawthon himself, and maybe it could be a case he may be back out of retirement to work on the titles, as over time and in most cases these titles are often seen as the more underwhelming of the games in the series, being the most buggy or confusing in the lore aspect of things. But many years since then those titles have released, and I'm sure they can have a plenty more work with and be fleshed out, and I'm sure it'll be worth playing in the future, alongside the eventual release of that kart racer game as well, which I don't know if it's been cancelled. It is, however, not the only new announcement from this anniversary, as we jumping from the world of film, books and games into be taking a step into the real world, as it was also unveiled that the actual real-life Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria will be opening next year, with its location somewhere in New Jersey. Now, it's always been said that people feel like this one's the restaurants existed out there, with a close one being Chuck E. Cheese's, but seeing a real one is quite something. And I wonder if this will be a limited event place or to be a permanent location and see a franchise at other parts of the states and even to international markets. But as things stand, we have no clue on it, but they may be interested to travel over to see it in person. I think they are hiring for security guards in that particular instance, but I'm sure we'll see what will come of it all in due course. Now, nothing has been said of when we expect these games or the opening of the actual restaurant, but if I hear anything, I'll try and let you know in a later episode. Now, the last story this week is a bit more of a shocking development from the outcome of some news that I'm sure they'll redact here, but it looks like the inevitable has happened once more in the industry, as the gaming scene has seen another hack, a leak of some content for an upcoming project. This time it's once again with this year's hotly anticipated title of GTA 6. Now, to give a bit of a breakdown, on Monday or Tuesday evening, a group that called themselves CyberLeak have apparently accessed the Rockstar servers and have grabbed clips and footage of the upcoming title, with a fair bit of the early bits being from the build from 2023, showing off some of the aspects and elements of the mechanics, visuals, and even to the case of a possible leak of the game's map of Leonida. Now, this was seen across a few batches of leaked footage, and while people felt it was not much, the more concern came around Wednesday evening or Thursday morning, when the group unveiled that they may have a full complete build of the game itself, when in the footage that I can't show to avoid more redacted ordeals, that they shoot the word leak in the footage, showing that they have now playable versions, and now things have become a lot more serious. Allegedly, though, it could be some possible fabrications with some elements. I don't think it's been confirmed. As of right, there has been alleged about 10 leaks have occurred already, and there's been a possibility of a second group involved, which I can't remember the name of. Brought it up here maybe. It seems like a concern to me see leaks to the levels of like The Last of Us Part 2 had back in 2020, about 2 months before that came out, and this happening a few days before the extended look on Netflix and YouTube. Now, I mentioned there has been a manifesto with a focus this being aimed about their decision of their shady practices and demanding for a proper physical release for the title, and while I can see some capacity of the understanding of their method on that, there is a bit more of a shadier aspect, and that is they're trying to use this to make a profit in the form of their own cryptocurrency. So while I can see the ideals of this being the physical release being a reasonable attack, everything else doesn't, and whether they have actual build of the game and it could be released if they are caught, like it's a failsafe or a bomb, feels a bit uncertain. Now, Rockstar hasn't made a comment on all of this, but there's some investigations into all of it, and I have to wonder if they are acknowledging it in the showcase next week, but I'm sure we'll find out. In the case of what else will come of all this over time, I'll try and update if I can, if things come about. But what do you make of these stories? Do you see Bautista being a solid choice for Kratos? How big of a role will Coleman and Capaldi have in this only murder season? And when do you expect this new season to come out? When will you be playing either of the two FNAF titles or going to the new restaurant? And what are your opinions about this massive leak of the GTA title? And will this be a major effect on the game itself? And will any of these demands be met from the manifesto, or even if this is a massive ploy by Rockstar themselves? Let me know what you think down below in this regards case if you can. And in all regards, that's all the news we have this week.
That's all, folks.
Okay, I may not have much time, but that is the end of episode 170. We're in my newsroom. Hope you enjoyed my ramblings for a little about 20 minutes or so anyway. So I'm going to try and fly through a lot of this now because I feel like Acme is right breathing down my neck and I got to get out of here. So anyways, here's the case of what's coming up. Reviews wise, I'm going to get back to finishing up The Last of Us first season. I'm going to get that finished, as well as get a TADC, as well as some other videos and gameplays. Like I said, I will probably do a review for this if this film doesn't get redacted, as well as some other ones like Spider-Man, The Odyssey, Supergirl, a few other movies and stuff like that coming out. Look forward to of those down the line and see what else coming on. Maybe some reviews of re-release movies as well in the future, like Fast and Furious or Cars or something, but we'll see. And as well as actually box office and everything else. Gameplay wise and stuff like that, I'm going to upload more VODs on my Tomodachi live streams. You'll probably check them out when they put up on my channel, unless I get captured, in which case hopefully I will escape the clutches here. Anyway, in case instance, we got to get through that, get through into more Star Wars, Mario Wonder, Cyberpunk 2027, and DK Bonanza, and a few more games as well, stars like Ventily and maybe some CODs, Resident Evils, more Alan Wakes, and a few Atomic Bombs and stuff like that, maybe Until Dawn, Dragon Age, all those things. So look forward to those. I will probably get around to them in due time. In the case of long form stuff, I'm going to get to that time-lapse build, I'm going to get to rewatch a font, and get to the AI intros video I promised someone. I'm going to get to a lot of other long form stuff when I possibly can, when it's safe, because I don't know how long if they get me here. Hopefully I can escape and get some information. But in this regard to things, I will leave the episode there. So if you like what you see here, want to see more from me, and more frequently, hopefully, then simply like and subscribe. I upload new stuff every single week. I'm aiming for 750 to 1,000 subs. I feel by the time this episode goes out, possibly uploaded, I think I might have surpassed 700 subscribers. So I appreciate every single one of you for joining, and the massive sudden boost I've had in the last week or something is insane. So I might be able to reach my sub goal by the end of this month, for at least the lower side, and then by the large side by maybe the end of September, October. We'll see, hopefully. Let me know your thoughts on everything discussed this week if you possibly can. And hopefully this episode won't be heavily redacted and in case the corporation try to hide from us. Just let me discuss some new releases, trailers, and the news stories down below. And just love to hear all your thoughts about it if you're able to see this and get the word out there in regards to things. Also, in case they'll probably be fine with this one. If you want to get yourself some 10% off pure crack, use my code Sam Harrison. It's one word, all caps, and it's basically just link down in the description if it's there. And in that regards of things, I'm going to leave there right now because I can hear them coming and I need to get out of here. So with all that, you all to be wonderful people. Have a great day every day, do many great things, and keeping you because no one else do what you do, and take care of yourself because mental health is very important. Now, I've been your host Sam, of course, speaking the truth here in regards to things, this media stuff, and I'll see you in the next episode. So take care. I'll see you later.